20 bronze medalist, former Cuban Loren Alfonso, representing Azerbaijan. He's up against Marko from Croatia. Now, Chalic is he's not a bad amateur boxer, but he's more known in the professional ranks. He's got a 15-1 professional record. His only defeat was by stoppage to Joshua Buatsi, who won bronze at Rio 2016 and is a world title contender. And, very much one to watch. So maybe this is obviously boxing now open to professionals, has been since Rio, but maybe his style more suited to the professional game. But I suspect Loren Alfonso is going to know he's been in a contest.
And I think he's going to have to go through that, and obviously representing Azerbaijan now and doing so proudly by way of Baku. But that Cuban grounding, he's going to need to rely on a lot of it, because Chalic, as you say, has that pro experience. When you're losing to likes of Josh Buatsi, who is such an intelligent fighter in and outside the ring, maybe quite hasn't reached the World Championship title that he would desire to have. I've had the pleasure to commentate with him, but a very smart guy, very educated in terms of his boxing ability. So for Chalic to be mixing it with that company, he's going to bring some quality here. But of course, Alfonso, we mentioned that grounding, that, you know, from the feet up school as they do in Cuba, he'll probably have to rely on a lot of that today.
Alfonso, as well as being the Tokyo 20 bronze medalist, world champion in 2021. He's actually one of the few men we're seeing in this session of 92 kilogram bouts who's actually already boxed here. He defeated Ghana's Jonathan Tete by unanimous decision. In Busto Arcizio, Loren Alfonso was beaten by Emmanuel Reyes, another former Cuban. He's representing Spain, and Reyes went on to claim a quota spot. We're underway. Chalic in the blue, Alfonso in the red.
Straight away you can see the shape of Chalic. He keeps himself in a good strong guard, keeps his chin tucked in. By way of contrast, Alfonso Dominguez much more light and loose, trying to give that traditional style of the Cuban boxing school. Havana, a good time?
Won't be if you keep
landing
out puns like that, John.
Puns, not punches. That's the safest way to go. But Chalic so far holding the centre.
Chalic much more accustomed to 8-10 rounds than 3 minutes, but combination there from the Croatian.
Yeah, Rory's finding his distance now, and these little feints are all designed to put Alfonso Dominguez into a heightened state so that he starts to make some mistakes. No signs of it yet from the AZE. Pressure there from the Croat.
Already past the midway point of round one, and I think as far as bouts that we've seen, this has probably been the longest feeling out period.
Yep.
Two men probably wary of each other's power and experience, and very much keeping things cagey early on.
Yeah, I think you're right, justifiably wary. They know that the power's there in the backhand of Chalic. He's been warned a couple of times. The Azerbaijan coach has been saying, look out for the right hand. Conducting it in Spanish, of course. Obviously, Cuban coach now out in Azerbaijan as well. There is that right hand, but walks into a good counter. Good movement from Dominguez as well.
Yeah, used his feet beautifully to get out of trouble. Inside the last 30 seconds. Now a bit of a standoff. Might be a word from the referee to start throwing some punches before too long. Alfonso, good on the counter. Chalic certainly looks like a veteran pro. I think that's the first round to Alfonso.
Yeah, we'll find out obviously now what the judges have got to say if they're in accordance with that. But get to say that there's a few levels still to go in this one. They were in agreement with you there, Rory. Alfonso Dominguez of Azerbaijan taking that opening round. But Chalic, I think the feints and the ability to try and control that range worked to an extent, but just a little bit of speed off the ropes, like so, made the difference. So maybe instead of going in 1 and 2, maybe 3 and 4 required. But chasing shadows a couple of times there was Chalic.
Yeah, the 3 and 4, though, there's the risk. That's the risk v reward equation we've discussed already today. It's Alfonso isn't going to let you get 3-4 off, is he?
No, and that's when you can end up looking stupid as he spins off and picks you off with a jab on the way out. But if you don't become a threat in the opponent's head. At the moment, in the Azerbaijan corner, well, Loren, Alfonso Dominguez doesn't look threatened at the moment, and Chalic needs to turn that power up a little bit and let the combinations go. But it's the feet, as we mentioned, the Cuban school by way of Baku, and that little movement, the Matador escapes again.
It's so impressive. It's frustrating for the opponent, and it can be frustrating for the crowd at times as well when you see a boxer who's so skilled defensively. But it's part of boxing.
Huge.
You don't want to get hit.
Huge.
If you can avoid being hit,
yep,
it's half of the battle.
Totally.
Oh, that's a beautiful combination from Alfonso. You see, he's a great defensive boxer, but in a flash, he's landed 2 big scoring shots.
And that gives you the challenge to Chalic, because he's thinking, I'm going forward. He gets frozen on the spot, gets picked off again with a big overhand right. And that is, we mentioned before, some of the younger fighters knowing the right things to do, but doing them at the wrong times. This is the converse of that. You're seeing Alfonso Dominguez doing what he wants, when he wants, and at the right time. Like so.
Object lesson here from Alfonso, just controlling the bout completely. Reminds me a little bit of the Tokyo Olympic final. You had Julio Cesar de la Cruz up against the big Russian, whose name I can never pronounce. I think it's Gadzi Magomed.
Gadzi Magomedov, yeah.
And
who graduated to the pro ranks, yep.
Yeah, and Magomedov, who's a former world champion, he just couldn't get near De La Cruz.
And it's all, a lot of time, if you watch the front foot, the blue shoe, let's call it, it's the pivot that comes off that, as we see another 1-2. But this constant sideways movement, and it's controlled. And if you've ever seen any documentaries on Cuban boxing, or encourage people to do so, it's from the feet up, and they're learning from the ground up, and that's the key.
Superb display from Loren Alfonso there, the right uppercut in there. And Chalic is chasing shadows at the moment.
It's the big backhand from the man now by way of Baku that's landing. Has a little look to his coach. And here's the clacker as well. Impressive.
And this is no mug.
Right.
This is a decent boxer who's being made to look very ordinary.
A good pro, and we mentioned it about trying to maybe add the third and fourth shots. He went for it, Chalic, on a couple of occasions, the Croatian. But again, the target is always moving.
There's a 10-8 in there from the Sri Lankan judge. And Chalic, you can see his expression. It says it all. As a picture tells 1,000 words. Goodness me, that summed it up. And he's like, I've got another 3 minutes of this.
It was the puff of the cheeks and the resignation to think, okay, what can I do? Because when you're trying to figure out the fight in the fight, that's the most tiring part. When you've got your game plan and it's been working, then you can get your confidence, as we see in the red corner. But in the blue corner, you're now into page 357 of your game plans, thinking, what can I do here? And trying to set up one shot leaves you open to others, and then it's right into the hands and the Well, the really good feet of Alfonso Dominguez. The only thing you can do, pick off the body. Work the jab to the body, try and work downstairs to slow down the feet, but in a 3-round fight, that's a tall order.
Certainly is. And you can see Chalic, he's looking for that one big shot, isn't he, now? Which he has got.
Sure.
But it's whether he's able to land it and whether Alfonso is going to get caught by it. And I'd say it's unlikely, but at this weight in this weight class, a puncher always has a chance.
Sure. And also complacency can creep in. You don't want to be crossing the finish line and too soon, but that little bit of movement, you mentioned it before, is very demoralising. It's not only you tired and your shot's not working, you then have to go and turn round and chase your opponent. This is the range. Can he let 3 and 4 go here?
Got one. Alfonso was just too quick to take any more. Approaching the midway point of the third and final round. That was better from Chalic. He talked about boxers having gears. What gear do you think Alfonso's in here?
I think he's turned the engine off about an hour ago. I think he's just saying, right, this'll do it. I'm going to freewheel down the highway here and just let you chase me, because the head movement, he's stopped moving his feet and he's just spinning the shoulders. The referee will probably give him a warning for that. They're a little bit too much showboating. But Chalic, of course, the challenge is there. And as you said, when he needs to come back, not from the counter mode to the attack, he's got it.
There again. That combination. And you're probably watching it thinking, he's landed it so many times, but what can Chalic do about it? Because Chalic is trying to come forward. He's trying to impose his will somehow on this contest, but it's just not happening.
Totally. And that's one of the great imponderables of timing. People talk about timing, and timing is a function of your shape, your control of range, and your choice of punches. And then if you can measure that up and know that my arm is longer than yours, or vice versa, or I can move and you can't, you don't go to the right, well, you don't go to whatever. All of these micro decisions are made in milliseconds, and that is the timing. And people look at it and think, oh, why doesn't he just like that? Shrug of the shoulders, as if to say, doesn't matter what I do, you are as if you're fighting a fight that you fought yesterday. He's already ahead of the game.
Such a good performance by Loren Alfonso. It's spectacular in a sort of different way. It wasn't big punching. There was no, great tear up or exchanges. Just controlled, disciplined, technically brilliant boxing.
Nicely put. Totally agree with that. And it's the style plus the timely reminders of his power, and that's what's made the difference here, as the referee calls him to the centre. But of course, Chalic, his Olympic challenge will be over.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by unanimous decision in the red corner, representing Azerbaijan, Alfonso Dominguez, Loren Roberto.
No surprise there, Loren Alfonso through to the round of 16, a class operator, and he'll be up against Sanjit Kumar of India in the next round. 2 wins away from a return to the Olympic Games. He won bronze in Tokyo. Sanjit's going to have his work cut out.
Big time, and you guarantee there, and we can probably just catch a glimpse in the crowd of, there's a lot of coaches and fighters watching. Team India will not have left. They'll have stayed and waited to see, right, study him, see what he's doing. They won't have learned anything new, but they'll know that the challenge is formidable.
Really is, as we see some of the highlights, and just Alfonso just going through the repertoire. Great defence, and then it's just the angles of the shots.
And it's like anything, Rory, anything done well looks easy. and he makes it look easy. And there's, you talk about 10,000 hours of mastery, there's 15,000 hours of footwork in there to make it look like that.
Confirmation of the result there. Loren Alfonso winning that final round, 10-9 on all 5 of the scorecards.